I think the big thing, the big domino, again, in this whole ordeal is what are the majors going to say next year, and if they're going to be okay with it, how are players going to earn world ranking points to get in?
Yeah.
That's the massive domino, is this world ranking point aspect. And now there's rumors that we're going to find out, I think Thursday is basically when the European Tour is going to announce, but there's rumors swirling that the Saudis might be trying to buy the European Tour, which we talked about. Dustin Johnson applied for membership, some of these guys, so they can go earn world ranking points to play in these events. Now, I think it was back in January or October, the PGA Tour and the European Tour announced the strategic alliance, which was basically nothing other than like, hey, there's a few crossover events. And so the challenging aspect for the European Tour, we talked about last podcast, was they don't make money unless it's a Ryder Cup year where they're hosting it. So they struggled to make money. And so they've already aligned themselves with the Saudis they had a few tournaments there, but like then they aligned themselves with the PGA Tour. And if they're like fully like, hey, we're not going to do this LIV Golf thing, you basically become a feeder tour for the PGA Tour, which they already have the Korn Ferry. And so how does that feed into that? Is it the new feeder tour from Europe? And then I don't know how it's all going to work out. And I'm almost to the point where I do truly think if LIV somehow buys or they align with the LIV, they let these players and LIV join the tour, it's going to really create an interesting aspect within the game of golf, because all of a sudden they have world ranking opportunities. And now these players can play. And like, what do you do with the world ranking system? How do you disband these things? Like, it'll create a lot of interesting controversy. And like these next 2 days are very exciting for me to just see what's going to happen.
Yeah, and my brain, like honestly, like while you were just in there saying, just kind of started spiraling of like all the possibilities of like happens. Like you're gonna have guys that could pledge their allegiance to the European Tour, and then obviously you got you guys that pledge your allegiance to the PGA Tour, and obviously the PGA Tour is gonna have to answer to get the money in the same boat. Eventually, like what you could possibly see is not necessarily like a Ryder Cup fashion, but essentially two like successful leagues that
I would love it,
that could operate. And then I don't know, I wouldn't say you get things cordial, especially if like things are still being backed by like Saudi, like the PGA Tour isn't going to agree to do things with them, but like then the game of golf just becomes predominant if you start getting events against each other, or if like the majors let these guys come in and play against each other. I think from the team aspect for both these things is they got to do something to where these teams stay the same for like a year.
Yeah.
Or to like the changing it each week, like that doesn't really give me a team vibe to it.
Maybe you have 6 guys, and we could spitball ideas
forever.
Yeah, so I don't even need to do that right now. Yeah. I think where I go with it is if European Tour somehow does align with the Saudis or with the LIV Golf League, I'll call it that from now on, not the Saudis. I think what happens is like the big concern everyone talks about is the shitty product in the game of golf.
Yeah.
Which it hasn't been good for a while, but when we get these events where a lot of the superstars are in it, it does become better.
Like we saw over the weekend.
Yeah, and being that this LIV Golf thing is pulling some of these players away from these tournaments, it's damaging the product. I just don't think like week over week the product's going to be much worse than it is already. And what it might do is really heighten the majors, assuming they can still play in the majors. And so that's where I find there potentially being good coming out of this. So I don't know. I could speculate all you want. I truly think if the European Tour does somehow do some sort of handshake deal with LIV Golf, then the PGA Tour is in a tough spot.
Yeah, I think that's
but like if I'm the European Tour, I don't make a lot of money.
They're kind of in the same boat as these players.
And so if they align themselves with the PGA Tour, like what, they're becoming a feeder, and they really like I don't see how the European Tour has many options other than to somehow align themselves with that if they want to stay afloat and let these big names play in their events. So it's just
or do they become a combined tour somehow?
A World Golf Tour.
World Golf Tour underneath the PGA Tour brand or something along those lines with this new format of like these guys on the European Tour can compete each year to get tour cards or whatever that may be. So like the possibilities are really endless with the game of golf, which is essentially we've never seen this before. Like we haven't. Like you've talked about it with other sports and other like entertainment.
WWE, baby.
Like it's going to be truly interesting to see what happens, because like it's time to get serious. Like some of your biggest names, like a 4-time major champion, in his 30s. Like, he's leaving. Dustin's left. Like, it's no joke from this standpoint, at least for the PGA Tour. Like, you're losing high-profile guys that have made money for your tour for a long time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think they've gotten now 8 of the top 50 in the world or so. So, I mean, like, look,
there's still 42 other guys that are on.
But it's interesting. And so we'll obviously get more updates, I think, this week. We can speculate all we want, but again, it's pure speculation.
But those are at least the particulars of what we got as far as like 4 or 5 o'clock today on.
Yeah, that we're just providing the information to our fans, to our loyal listeners.